Now, after months of protests against its controversial judicial overhaul, an historic showdown is taking place in Israel today. All 15 Supreme Court judges are convening for the first time in the country's history to hear petitions against a legal amendment that would limit their own powers. To tell us more, France 24 correspondent Irris Makler is live with me now. She's at the Supreme Court in Jerusalem. Irris, tell us what's been happening today, both inside of the court and out.
Inside the court, we have had a packed courtroom, televised to the whole country, being broadcast live, even on commercial channels, as everyone takes in the lesson of what happens when, the civics lesson of what happens when you don't have a constitution. Then you have these kind of fights, and what we've seen is people petitioning this amazing position where the Supreme Court is hearing an appeal against the curb on its own power, with three parties here: the court, the government and the Attorney General, who's part of the government, but because she's independent, she's come to the conclusion that she agrees with the appellants and that this legislation in its current form is too draconian and will damage Israel's democracy. So you can see where that legal crisis is heading. Outside the court, we've had politicians from within this government stressing, warning the court not to intervene. The Speaker of Israel's parliament said that the parliament would not accede to being trampled, and today we saw many members of parliament repeating that on social media. Will not accede, the parliament will not accede, the parliament will not accede. It really is, I guess, the rule of law versus the government, or the government versus the rule of law. And when politicians are asked, will they obey a court ruling, very few say yes.
So quite a dramatic day inside of the court. Irris, give us a sense of what is likely to come next.
We have seen endless protests, and I think the protesters deserve some credit for what we are seeing here today. It's been reported all along that Benjamin Netanyahu said the protests would die down. That has not happened. They are quiet now, and I've moved a little bit away from them, but they've said they want this court case to go ahead without disruption. But last night there were tens of thousands of people right here filling this street, and they said the court protects our rights, we must protect the court. And what we're hearing is that in the background there are talks between the government, some members of the opposition, to reach some kind of compromise that would mean that this endless period of disruption in Israel, indescribable unless you're living it week after week, that might bring this to an end.
Irris Makler live outside of the Supreme Court in Jerusalem. Thank you very much.